Welcome. My name is Amilcar Shabazz. I have practiced beat making since 2005 when I was 12 years old and given encouragement and instruction about recording and my first copy of a music making program from my older brother. Along the way of my own progress and development as a beat maker, I created music making opportunities for my younger sibling who will go on to make their own electronic, hip hop, and soundtrack compositions. My various names for making beats identify different production approaches and phases within my beat making, such as the names Azilla, Falkenstein, Mill Repa, Collabo Beatworks, and the latest, Kesmet. I have with me today my sibling and fellow visual artist and beatmaker. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm Ursa Shabazz, and my current artist name is Artours, or Arts Hours. And I specialize in electronic and hip hop production, and I also do 3D graphics and traditional and digital drawing. Other than that, I also am a performing artist. I have been trained in the West African drums, and so I do drum circles and drum performances of the djembe.
That's great. Um, my objective is to present our combined interest in beat making and also compare our motivations and paths to musical skill development. Um, what was your biggest inspiration to begin recording?
Well, you kind of already stated it earlier. You. um, I would have to really credit you as like the biggest. Both just seeing the art that you would make, listening to it as a kid. Like right alongside some of the first artists that really started to develop my taste that I was finding on SoundCloud back in like 2015, 2016. You were one of them, if not like basically the first one, because I remember use Dad's iPad, or rather, it was your iPad at the time actually, um, and you were signing a SoundCloud on there, and I would listen to your songs on your account. Um, but yeah, from you both giving me the tools to start beat making, but also giving me lessons and really believing in the idea that I had a vision for music and art. Um, Other than that, there's a lot of things that come up for me. I just still thinking about the theme of family. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about mom, and all the songs she would sing us, and that's something that I want to be able to preserve. But also beyond that, just really the concept of like uh, uh, auditory memory. Some of the recent trips we've gone on, like when we went to New York, or recently when I was in Baltimore, I would use like programs like Koala, which you can just like record straight from the your phone's microphone into a beat making program. So I'm really just trying to like show where I come from, show my experiences, because I think there's an importance in really creating these records, double entendre, of your life, your experience, and what you've been through.
Ishmael Butler. He goes also by the name Palacier Lazaro
Hmm.
in Shabazz Palaces. Uh, he has kind of this combination of the lyrics, not just the meaning of the lyrics, but how they're delivered.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem like obvious to have synths lean into the black experience
Hmm.
um, in a particular way, but that's what they pull off, and that's why they get called Afrofuturist.
Yeah.
So I have this song called "My Mind." No, it's not called "My Mind Waits" by the music. That's a lyric from it that I want you to kind of hear
Hmm.
how it's placed in it. But the song is called "Are You, Can You, Were You Felt"
Hmm.
on the album Black.
to it. Heavy, a light with trueness. Always a way of losing, compelled to know it. My body travels, my mind waits behind the music. My crime be muses, relax inside my shiny blueness. Time I understand it, but I never choose it. I can't explain it with words, I have to do it. The ship I came here on vanished. We automatic, don't try to plan it, but yeah, just when it comes.
My mind waits behind the music is to give some distinction to music as being like a physical phenomenon, a physical, activity.
So in the sense that like the mind is literally behind it, like it's a physical object and the mind is behind the wall.
Well, it's like a musician, whether they know it or not, whether it's all intentional or not, you aim for creating a vibe, but what you have there is actually like a three-dimensional landscape that is audible. There's like structure, there's feeling, there's texture, there's literal like shape in all of that sound.
You're saying like in the sound waves?
Yeah, I mean it's compressed air.
Yeah.
It's a vibration. Look at the flip, the remix.
Yeah.
And everything is choices, People say there's a video game developer named Peter Molyneux. He developed The Sims and SimCity, and he might not make the most popular games, but
I don't know. Sims has gone crazy.
Yeah, well, maybe not the most refined gameplay, but he said, video games are a story of interesting decisions. And so experimentation with music, it's kind of like a game. You listen to the song, the playful parts stick out. That's your stain as a human, having a creative mind, of your own. You're like, oh, these parts of the emotion stick out to me. And
kind of getting at that idea of like the mind behind the music. You're seeing that person's mind kind of through the music itself. Yeah. When you have a song start with a sample, especially if it's a sample you recognize, or maybe one that you might learn through the artist or through other people, has like a significant history to it. It can really be a complex emotion or experience that the song starts with, that has more layers to it than maybe a single individual note could. Like I think about how I learned from a community member of mine that one of the jazz songs I learned had a very specific connotation, or at least I learned a jazz rendition of it, but it has a very specific connotation to Vietnam War veterans. It was the song Sunny, and that to him, and as he said, a lot of war veterans, that was the first song they heard when they came back home. And it to them represented this return to those you love. And you hear it in the lyrics. Yesterday my heart was filled with gray. Sunny, you smiled at me and really saved my day. Like, it coming back from that war, of course, you'd be really going through it. And seeing your loved ones after such a long time, I can imagine for a lot of people is just that profound moment, but can take them to a really emotional place.
The movement of musical styles and its audiences are called listening formations.
Huh.
And so in some way, I kind of think about how the originators of hip hop are still with us.
Uh-huh.
A lot of them. Um, uh, so we still have people who can talk about, you know, maybe not what everyone's motivation for making the music should be, but we have, um, you know, that kind of direct line to um, the medicine, the need that they were filling in their community, um, and that was part of their motivation
Yeah.
was to be effective, to heal,
Yeah.
part of their culture.
Yeah.
So there's lots of music like funk and soul where it's not like all the originators are gone, but they aren't um, they aren't maybe the shot callers. No one's deferring to them in terms of you know taste making, or like who, where should the sound go.
Yeah.
No one's asking them that. So what we really get is that these musics, um, they really only live in the originators in a certain uh, authentic kind of way. And when you get down to the later musicians who want to stay evolving the theme, it's a new phase of the theme. Hip hop or electronica or house or techno. It's a new phase when the beat makers, the musicians, are kind of replaced, and so I'm kind of thinking, basically, that second generation and onward, they have to kind of do more of a solo kind of search and taste deciding, about about trying to create a new direction for the music.
I'll respond to some of what you were saying last. Like, you were mentioning how it wasn't just even for hip hop. It's a lot of these different genres where, like, we're really getting into, yeah, this very individual. Not even just in terms of developing your sense of taste, but learning the genre. I feel like social media and the algorithm interacts with how we're not even just like listening to music, but creating it too. Um, on the cooler end, I've seen a lot of like online communities, different group boards like open up where people are really creating like tight knit communities, teaching a whole large group of people um, the skills of the trade, and getting them into very reminiscent of like the origin of hip hop, like um, keeping people off the streets, keeping people in community and expressing themselves and their feelings. It's creating these beat and music making communities on these boards, these message boards, and yeah, it's reminiscent of like the OG days of hip hop, where it was about keeping people off the street, keeping people in community, keeping people expressing themselves through the music. And even competitions. I see a lot of these competition videos where everybody on these boards are putting in their music submissions, and then they're getting rated and measured against one another. And it's great to see that. But then in turn, I also see a lot of formulaic, repetitive stuff that's almost just designed to get like pushed through the algorithm or put into like Spotify's genre playlists, or like on YouTube playlist like videos. And so it's a lot of like low effort stuff that has no real musical concept behind it, and just kind of becomes like noise. And beyond that, there's even like AI taking the formula to a logical extreme, of like training off of that and this then just churning out the same thing, not really ever being able to iterate or create like a new musical idea. And I just see those two kind of contrasting points in which the way that music's going, it being more accessible than ever to find like musical community, but then at the same time, it being easier than ever to find musical community, but then at the same time having like the music just be boiled down to a formula, especially by some of the biggest companies, and like more and more money being taken away from the arts and the sciences. It's not just upsetting. I think it just speaks to something wrong with like how the greater economy interacts with like art. And so I want to see a future in which we really put in money and support to the arts, and really to all people, so that we can make art not just for our own personal private success, but for the culture. Because I think that's really, as what you were saying, like that's where these art forms came up from. That people were passionate enough not just to make it, because you can make it, but it's the sharing it that made it what it is. And now we can share without ever really getting to know the people, ever really having to support the people, ever really having to put in effort into the people, while at the same time being at a position where it's harder than ever to really live and build a future. So I think there's something in the music and the way that music's changing that should really get people to look at things beyond just the music itself and into the community.
So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate you listening to my perspective. I think that that's what I try to express in my music itself. And even in my artist name, I believe that art is ours, but it's not just mine, it's ours as a community.